All right, testing audio, testing audio. Can everybody out there hear me? Hopefully you guys can hear me. All right. All right, you can hear me. Excellent, excellent. And how's it going, guys? Welcome to my first ever YouTube livecast. I have been having people ask me to do this for quite some time. People have been asking me to do live Q&As for a long time. I've been asked to do a podcast for a long time. So I decided, why not just do some sort of a podcast kind of format live here on YouTube where I can answer your guys' questions and we can have guests come in. I've been doing these live casts over on Instagram now for a couple weeks. So if you're not following me over on Instagram, for the past 2 weeks on Mondays and Fridays, I've been doing a little quick live Q&A and bringing on special guests. So I've had Second Chance Hiker on, I've had Jupiter Hikes on, Tip Tap, I've had Einstein, I've had all kinds of people come on. So I had a lot of requests to move this over to YouTube so you guys could watch this on a bigger platform. You could comment, and then afterwards people will be able to watch this, because on Instagram it only allows you to do it for like an hour, or no, it allows you to do it for an hour and then it will actually kill the pre-recorded live thing after only 24 hours. So this way, anybody that is not able to make it here to the live cast can jump in and you can watch this whole thing. So hopefully the visuals look good. This is kind of my first time doing this, so I'm still trying to work some of the bugs out. So hopefully the audio is good, hopefully the picture is good, and hopefully we can get some of these special guests in here. I have 2 special guests today, but I think that as long as you guys dig these and it works out and all of this goes through okay, I think that I'm gonna start doing these about every Tuesday. I might alter it some Tuesdays and put out little bitty mini videos, but since we're all inside and we can't be out on the trail, I figured this was a perfect time to do these and kind of have something extra for us all to hang out and connect. So, obviously, let's touch on the topic real quick. I'm not on the AT anymore. If you've been watching my videos, if you saw my video of when I got off, you'll know why I got off, why most of us are trapped inside right now, because of the thing that we've all been talking way too much about. Now, I'm sure today we might talk a little bit, especially with some of the special guests that I have coming on. We might talk a little bit about some of that stuff going on, but there's just been so much negativity, and all you see is the virus stuff in the news, and you see it on Facebook and on YouTube and on Instagram. And the whole point of these live casts is to bring some positivity and to get us all to connect together and chat and answer questions. So if you want to find out really my whole stance on the trail and the virus and the whole thing that's going on, I did do a video a few weeks ago called Getting Off the Trail, and I kind of explained, it was right when I got off the trail, right when I got back to Arizona off of the AT, me basically explaining my whole situation and my stance on it and what I think that we need to do as a community to respect each other and to spread positivity and to love each other and help each other. So if you want to check that out, please go check that video out. I'm going to try to not touch too much on that topic in this video. There are a lot of you here, and it's pretty crazy. Apparently there are 819 of you watching this right now. So thank you for joining me. I'm pretty jacked about this. It's pretty cool that we all get to kind of hang out no matter where we are in the world, and hopefully you're all doing super well. So now that I got kind of all of that pre-talk out of the way, how I want to do this is basically I want to answer some of your questions. So some of the questions that come up over in the live chat. Let's see, I got to figure out which way is the live chat. I think it's over here. The live chat. Everything on my screen is opposite of what you guys are seeing. So over in the live chat, And then I'll just kind of roll through some questions and answer them, I guess in order and whenever I can catch them, because man, they're going so fast. And then here in a minute, we will bring in our first guest, which I am really, really, really excited about. So let me get a little drink of my tea here, and we'll see if we have any questions over here in the live chat. Let's see. So Andy K asked a pretty interesting question. It says, have you thought about how the trail will have changed with no humans for a season? Yeah, I think one of the positive things that a lot of people are looking at and a lot of people are saying is, you know, the long distance trails, especially like the three majors, right? The AT, the PCT, and the CDT get so much traffic. You know, thousands of hikers hike them every year, not only through hiking them, but weekend backpacking, day hiking. So I think there's a little bit of positivity that we can bring out of this situation and say, you know, maybe it's good that the trails have a little bit of a break where they can kind of revitalize a little bit. When I was out on the AT this year, there were a lot of shelters and campsites and trailheads where the ATC had actually taken rope and they're roping off certain areas. So say maybe there was a really popular campsite where a lot of people would camp, they have basically roped that off to let it revitalize, right? Let the grass grow back up, let some of the wildlife come back in. So really, if you think about it, this whole time of all of us having to be off the trail kind of gives the trail those shelters, campsites, water sources, a little bit of time to maybe revitalize and kind of repair itself from our use. You know, I know a lot of hikers are really great about leave no trace. We make sure that we're awesome about picking up trash, about not creating new fire rings. But just the fact of us being on the trail and setting up a campsite and, you know, matting down the ground, matting down the grass and stuff, it really allows this time to let all of that kind of spring back to life. So next year, when everybody goes back out on the trail, or maybe even the end of this year, maybe in a couple months, I think that the trail will be a little revitalized and it'll be a little bit better for us to go out and enjoy. So I think that that's a good thing. I think you can definitely look at the negativity of it, of being, oh, it sucks that we can't all get out on the trail. But then there's that really awesome positivity that it's kind of helping the trail rejuvenate a little bit so we can all enjoy it more in the future. And also, I want to thank everyone for sending in the super chats. I'll try to get to those as much as I possibly can. The comments are just rolling so fast, but thank you all for donating in the super chat. I really appreciate that. Oh, here's an interesting question. When you want to mix a cold coffee or a flavored drink, do you keep a clean bottle? I know you usually just directly put your Sawyer straight on your bottles, so wondering how you dealt with that. No, usually I actually just do it all in one bottle. So the one bottle that I'm going to be carrying throughout the day, that's the same bottle that I'll make my coffee in the morning. So I don't really carry a Sawyer filter anymore. I started carrying the Katadyn Be Free, and what I like about that is it has like a 1 liter bladder. It's just under a liter bladder. So at night, if I'm kind of close to a water source, I can fill my 1 liter bottle up, so like my smart water bottle or whatever disposable bottle I'm using, and then I can also fill up that Katadyn bottle, and I can drink everything in. What I usually do is I drink about half of the bottle of water that night with dinner before I go to bed, get some, get nice and hydrated. I'll go to bed, and in the morning, I'll take the rest of the water in there. I'll drink about a quarter of it to get some water in me in the morning, and then I will take the rest of it. I'll put my instant coffee in there. I'll shake it up. Or lately, I've been cooking again on trail, so I'll take that water and make coffee with it. And then I just take what's left in my Katadyn bottle, and I'll put that in there and have enough water to kind of get me, a liter of water will usually get me about 3, 4 to 5 to 6 miles, depending on the type of day it is and depending on the type of environment. So yeah, most of the time I'm just using one bottle. I'm kind of lazy in that aspect of it. Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's grab another questions. Ooh, Here's an interesting one. What are good off-trail workouts to stay trail ready during this time? So what I have personally been doing, funny enough, is right now we are in an apartment. So for any of you that are watching this being like, what the hell? I thought you lived in a van. My wife and I lived in a van for about 3 years, and last year we decided to get a small space because I needed some office space to be able to edit the film that I worked on last year. Just needed a little bit more space to spread out. So right now we basically have an apartment, and my office is in the apartment, but we have this real nice long hallway in the apartment. So I've just been running back and forth up and down through that hallway and then doing as much as I can to strength train. So I'm lucky enough to have a kettlebell. I've been doing a lot of different strength training, doing some squats and doing yoga, just trying to stay limber. And then here and there, since I've been back for over 3 weeks now, about 3 times, more like 2 times, I've gotten out and went on small day hikes. I'm lucky enough to have some forest basically in our backyard. So I can literally walk out the front door, walk half a block, and I can be on trails. So I'm actually taking my pack, fully loaded with about 4 days of food and a liter of water, and I'm just going on hikes, hiking up little steep things, trying to keep my legs in shape, because hopefully all this stuff will pass. Hopefully we can flatten the curve, as it were, and we can all get back to hiking, because I still plan on, as of now, going out to do the Great Divide Trail in Canada come July. Now, again, it all depends on how the situation is, how it unfolds, and if I can even get into Canada. So, but just in case, I've been trying to keep myself in shape by just doing some stuff around the house and then going out on a couple small day hikes. I've actually been thinking about maybe doing a small overnight backpacking trip. Like I said, less than a block away from our front door are trails. So I can jump on the trails with a pack and I can hike out into the forest where there's nobody and maybe do a small overnight, and I might make a video on it. So if you guys like that idea, let me know over here in the chat box if you dig that idea. My buddy Frozen over at Outdoor Adventures, which is another YouTube channel, recently did that. He's got woods behind his behind his house, and he loaded up his pack and he went on an overnight basically from his house. And it kind of inspired me to do the same thing. Again, I'm lucky enough to have all this forest in my backyard, so I might as well go enjoy it. And yeah, it might just be fun. I don't think that I've ever done just a quick overnight backpacking trip video here on the channel, so it might be an interesting thing to do. All right, let's see. Let's break down a couple more questions. I'm going to answer 2 more questions, and then we're going to bring in our first guest. So, all right, what do we got? Humans. Let's see. Man, there's so many questions. I'm just trying to roll down through them all. Are you keeping fit? What are good off-trail workouts? I've been getting a lot of those. Somebody said garage sale. Maybe you're talking about me selling some used gear. I talked about that a while back. So I do plan, I have a bunch of gear that I just don't use anymore. Some of it's slightly used. Some of it I've never really used because I got it, tried it out, and it just didn't work for me kind of right out of the gate. So I will be posting some of that used gear for sale over on our website, theoutdoorevolution.com, right there. Probably within the next couple weeks. I've been really trying to catch up with everything that I'm doing, all my plans that obviously fell through, making some media for you guys, getting those AT videos done, doing these live casts. So I'm trying to catch up to everything, but the plan is to have a section on the store over on Outdoor Evolution and put nothing but used gear. So I was going to put it on my old website, darwinonthetrail.com, but I decided instead to go put it on Outdoor Evolution, and all of the gear that is going to be sold on Outdoor Evolution, we're going to give a massive chunk of the proceeds, at least half, if not more, to a trail association, to public lands. So that could be the ATC, the PCTA, the ATA, the CDTC. So that's kind of the plan. That's why we're going to do it over there. So yeah, look out for that and kind of keep an eye and an ear open. I will post it here over on the community tab when I when I end up doing that. All right, let's cruise down. Oh, I lost it. Best 4K for under. There's one that I don't think I've ever really answered. Somebody said opinion on Hyperlight mountain gear products. I have personally never used any Hyperlight gear. I have a couple friends that are really big HMG fans, but I have never really used their stuff. In my personal opinion, some of their stuff to me seems a little overbuilt. I did try one of their packs years ago. This was back in 2015 at Trail Days when I was out on the AT, and it just didn't fit me right. I'd put some weight in it, I'd put it on, and it just didn't really ride on me right. And at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? It matters if a piece of gear is going to work for you. So I tried one of their packs, and it just didn't feel right on me. It did not carry my weight right. So I kind of didn't go forward with checking out their stuff. I might check some of their stuff out in the future, some of their shelters maybe. But yeah, I personally don't really have an opinion on Hyperlight stuff because I haven't had enough time in the field with it. And let's answer one more question. Thank you, PNW Sapper. Thank you so much for the super chat. And the question is, have you ever considered hiking the PNT, as it's the youngest national scenic trail? Yeah, so for any of you that don't know what the PNT is, that's the Pacific Northwest Trail. I do have thoughts of possibly doing that. You know, people ask me all the time, have you thought about doing this trail? Have you thought about doing this trail? But honestly, I think about doing every trail. But I have a list, right? I have a list of ones that I want to get to, and there's certain ones on that list at certain numbers. Right now, the big trails that I really want to do are the Great Divide Trail up in Canada, the Colorado Trail. Some of the next ones on my list are actually the Grand Enchantment Trail, the Superior Hiking Trail, and you know, the PNT is definitely, it's definitely on there for sure. But it really just kind of depends on when I get to it, honestly. Eventually, I'll eventually get to it, but right now, not ready to do it yet. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go ahead and get a hold of my first guest, which I am really, really excited about. Let me send her a message real quick, and we will get her connected here. Now, hopefully this is going to work because I'm going to bring her in on Skype, and she should pop up like over here in the corner, so I'll have to move over so it doesn't look like I'm eating her head. So let me get her all connected here real quick. I can see her, but you guys cannot see her yet. So I get a lot of questions all the time about, you know, what inspired me to start through hiking, what inspired me to kind of go out and do the trail. And I've answered a handful of times with different, you know, documentaries that I read, different books that documentaries that I watched, books that I read. And one of the books that really inspired me, kind of showed me into that world of long distance hiking, was a book called Becoming Odessa. And it was wrote back in 2010. And this year is the 10-year anniversary of it. So I thought it was proper to bring in my first guest. Let me see if I can do this right. Technology is so difficult. And hey, how's it going?
Good. So, is this working?
It is working. So ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer Farrar Davis, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I'm going to give you a little more screen here. Look like I'm like in on your, like I'm going to eat your head or something.
No.
So welcome. Let me get your volume all adjusted here. Make sure that you're not too hot. All right. Everybody bear with me. This is all new technology to me. I'm used to just making a video and then putting it up. So welcome. How's it going?
Good. I'm glad you're messing with the technology and not me. I'm sure you're better at it.
Well, I don't know. That's probably debatable. I try to be better at it, but so, how's everything going where you're at?
Everything's it's good. It's challenging. So I live in Asheville, North Carolina, and I have a hiking company. We have guided trips, we have a shop, we have a bunkhouse on the Appalachian Trail. So all that is closed down, and I feel a big weight of responsibility for our admin and for our guides. And then I also have um, a family with young children. And so, just supporting them emotionally and financially, like and keeping everyone, trying to keep everyone safe and healthy is taking up a lot of time.
Right.
But we're grateful to be healthy and grateful to have family time. So focusing on the positive for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, like I was saying earlier, I was really excited to bring you on here because on the Instagram ones, I've been bringing a lot of other creators, like video creators, other photographers, YouTubers that kind of live in this hiking community that we're all a part of. But when a lot of people talk to me and ask me about some of the first things that really inspired me to start getting into long distance hiking, um, one of the big things whenever I was starting to do research in 2013, 2014, like we didn't have all the people on YouTube, right? Like we didn't have Instagram. So it was, I don't think we had Instagram. I was really late to the Instagram game. So it was, whiteblaze.net is where you went for any info on trail. And then you had a
God bless.
couple,
Mm,
yeah. um, it's still up, right? Like I haven't been to it in years.
yeah.
Nice. And then, one of the first YouTube videos I'd ever seen was I think Joe Brewer had just done the AT and
Mm,
Backcountry Banter, I think is the name of his channel, but it was mainly books. Like it was picking up a lot of different books and reading a lot of about people's adventures out on the trail. And one of the thing that I one of the things that I tell a lot of people is what I really loved about picking up your book was to that point, all you've seen people post about and write about and talk about was the fact that how beautiful it was and the great times that they had and all like the positivity about doing a through hike, right? And I remember reading your book and like getting to certain parts of it, like where you were really honest about your first hike and like what you were going through, and then some of like the crazy stuff that you went through while you were out on your first hike.
yeah.
Um, and it was just like reading that, it really opened my eyes, and I was like, oh wow, this isn't all just like fairy tales and rainbows and a walk through the park. Like this is some real stuff out there. So that's what I've always really loved about your book and why it was so instrumental for me. And then whenever I started creating media, wanting to be more honest and talk about like the suck of things versus just, oh look how pretty this is.
Right. Yeah. But that, I mean, I think I said it was pretty, right?
Oh yeah, oh no, I mean plenty of pretty, but there, but there's definitely some there's some raunchiness
Yeah.
in the trail in that book as well. Especially like I remember talking about the crazy thing that you found at a shelter. I won't give it away on here for anybody that's
Right.
never read that book. Definitely pick it up because it is quite
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting now for me looking back because I've, hiked since that time. Like my first through hike was 2005, and that's what Becoming Odessa was about, was my hike when I was 21 years old. And so I've done all these other trails and miles, and that first through hike in a lot of ways is still my hardest and the most unique as far as I think I did get slammed just circumstantially, like with all these unique and awkward and tragic situations that on most through hikes just don't happen.
Yeah,
So I think it was exceptionally challenging just being my first through hike and then the added circumstances that I faced, but it made me, I think, a better hiker long term. Like the next trail I did was the PCT, and everyone's like, why didn't you write about it? Why didn't you talk about it? And I was like, because it was just lovely. Like there's nothing to say. Like that sums it up. Like I didn't have any of those weird, like you said, raunchy or tragic or awkward encounters that happened on the AT. I was just like, yeah, it was really pretty. It was really lovely. That's all that
it
happened,
was.
you know.
It's kind of hard to say a lot of bad things about the PCT. Like I had a pretty rough time in the Sierra because I went in pretty early and we had like this late winter storm that kind of came through, or early spring storm, or whatever you want to call it. that definitely
Yeah.
kind of made it a little bit of a suck adventure going through the Sierra. But aside from that, like, I don't have a single bad thing to say about the PCT. It's really wild how that how that kind of works out.
It's missing the conflict for a good story, Like, oh,
It's
it's
true.
pretty again.
Yeah, I mean, it would
Sunrise,
just be kind
sunset,
of
some
a,
snow.
yeah, it would just kind of be a one-way book, wouldn't it? Just like, oh, it's amazing. You got to go do it. This was amazing. This was
Yeah,
amazing.
for sure. And not for everyone, right? Because everyone's journey is so
Totally.
individualized and we all face different things. But
Right.
yeah, I kind of just got slammed my first through hike, which made a good book, apparently.
Right. Yeah. And then so going after that, I didn't get a chance to ever read it, but my wife was a big fan of the next book, which was about you setting the record out on the trail. Um,
Yeah.
Remind me of the title, 46
Well,
days?
it
Right.
might have been called again, which is very much
Yes.
our journey. My husband and I, he helped me, and that's when we went after the overall record on the AT. So that was way back in 2011. And then FKTs kind of took off, and more women were successful, which I loved, and more trail runners came in the sport. And I got really interested in telling kind of the real history
Yeah.
of trail records and what they mean and who set them and why they set them and how this as an activity has evolved. And also, I just wanted to get down to the nitty gritty of if you're someone who's capable of doing this, like what makes that click? Like, how do you dig out of those low places? Like, how do you endure? How do you keep going?
Right.
And what does the essence of that endurance look like for different individuals? So that was in here. I have that one. That's in the
There it
pursuit of
is.
endurance.
Look at that plug. That's excellent.
So that's a little bit more extreme than the others, but it's been neat, as I'm sure with you, like you've videoed for a long time now, so you can kind of see the journey or progression of your hike and your
Yeah.
thoughts and how you've changed because of the trail. And I feel
Exactly.
like with my books, it's similar. I mean, they're separate books, but they all kind of go together and represent different seasons of my life.
Yeah, it's wild for me, like in 2015, and I don't know if had you planned on writing a book whenever you went out for your first hike, or it was an afterthought, yeah? And that's how
Yeah.
I was on my first hike. It's like there was a couple YouTube channels and like YouTube, but like everybody now kind of, films their hike and documents it in somehow, like whether it's through a blog or a vlog or Instagram. But when I went out in 2015, I didn't even have a Facebook account. Like I didn't have anything. So I didn't get
Yeah.
to, one of my biggest regrets ever was I didn't get to, you know, blog or vlog that journey and document it
Yeah.
so I could look back at it and see that progression, see how it changed me. And that's why I went out
Right.
there this year, was because it was 5 years later and I've played with cameras enough now to where I was like, I'm going to go out and kind of relive those memories and maybe tap back into that nostalgia of being out there, which was really great. And I'm sure that you feel the exact same way. Like every time you go out to that trail, there's something that's like just home about it, right? Like very
Yes.
nostalgic.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think, like you mentioned, sometimes it's like the lack of resources or information that motivates you to put stuff out there. Because when I hiked in 2005, like I was mostly going off books or online sources. I
Right.
wasn't looking on social media. I wasn't on social media. I guess it was around, but
Right.
I couldn't find, I found very little information from women. Cindy Ross is sort of a hero of
Oh
mine
yeah.
because she was a woman who was putting stuff out there for a long time, but she was older and had children. And I really wanted this like young woman's perspective of what the trail would be like. And when I hiked, I didn't have that.
Right.
And so that was sort of one of my motivators. I journaled the whole way and I had no intent of creating a book. But when I was finished, I knew how changed I was. Like I knew how the trail had sort of just made me different from that point on. And I thought, well, if I can share this, even if I just have a family someday, or if this helps another young woman, like I want to at least try to put it out there.
Right. And then now, I mean, now you've done other trails, wrote other books. Now you have a guide. It's a guiding company, right? Is that what Blue Ridge is?
Yeah, Blue Ridge Hiking Company. It's actually 12 years old now. So it
Really?
started in 2008.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and at first I wanted to get people outside through writing, speaking, and guiding. And so then that manifested. And when I had my babies, I focused more on writing and speaking because it was more family friendly.
Yeah.
And the guiding service became separate, but it's also grown. So we have a lightweight backpacking boutique. We have a shop, a retail shop, a physical location in downtown Asheville, which is closed due to coronavirus.
Yeah.
And we have a bunkhouse on the Appalachian Trail in Hot Springs, like right on the trail. And it's a double wide trailer. We call it the Appalachian Trailer, which we
Genius.
love.
Genius.
And it is closed due to coronavirus. And our guiding is closed due to coronavirus. So
Ugh.
it's just been hard. It's, I feel very non-essential at this point, which is strange because hiking is so essential to me. Like it's such
Right.
a life-giving activity, and I think it's so therapeutic and so mentally and physically beneficial for folks. So it's really hard during this time where we're facing stress and anxiety to figure out how personally I can do that ethically, and then also professionally, like what we can do and when we can do it.
Right.
It's yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like we talked before this, and I was telling you that like I think this is the first time like since I did the AT in 15 that like I haven't not done something, especially like right now, like hiking season, right? Like it's spring, it's when everybody's hitting the trails. This is literally the
Mhm.
first time, and it's really weird to just kind of be sitting here and thinking about hiking because usually you
Yeah.
spend all winter thinking about hiking and then you're ready to go as soon as spring hits. And
I know. I do think it's probably, I feel really just I feel really bad for the people. I know folks who've worked 30, 40 years and this is their year to retire and hike the trail and they've looked forward to it for so long. I feel bad for everyone, but I think, being in the hiking community for 15 years and being part of this group that like sort of every year we're like, well, what are you going to do and what trail are you going to do and how far are you going to go? And I think in some ways it's healthy for our like hiker egos. Like I'm supposed to be on the Allegheny Trail this week and it's
oh,
it's just my personal thing, and every year I try to backpack about 2 weeks and that gives me time away from work and kids, but that's for me, I'm like, oh, this is my trail this year.
right.
And it's just a good I hate it. I wish I was on the Allegheny Trail right now. But like it reminds you that you are more than a hiker,
Absolutely.
and your identity is more than just like putting one foot in front of the other. And I know we love it. And I know we look forward to it, but we can still be a hiker and not like check off another trail each year?
Right. Now, there were two things that I really wanted to talk to you about because one, like I always love to talk to people about trails that a lot of people don't know about or that I haven't
Hmm.
done, but I have an interest in. And I know that, was it 2018 or 2019 you did the Mountains to Sea? Is it
Uh,
18?
I don't
I
remember.
feel like it was
But
18 because I did a,
18, I don't remember. I had kids. Everything's blurred.
I did a,
Like life pre-kids, life post-kids. It was definitely post-kids. I can tell you that
I
much.
did a I did a bike tour of the Blue Ridge Parkway in 18 in October, and I think that I want to say it was 18 because I remember because I'd never really thought about the trail, and I think that I had seen that you were going to do it, and I didn't know a lot about it. And then it's funny because I had been out on the Blue Ridge tons of times, but I had never paid attention to how many times it crosses the Blue Ridge.
Yeah.
And while we were out there, obviously on a bike, you're moving a little bit slower than driving in a car, stopping every once in a while and seeing like every single every single pass, and then knowing that I think that was the year that you did it. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but then I was like, ooh, I got to get into this. And then my buddy, the Black Alaskan, when he had planned on going to do it, I think he's done a few sections of it because he lives in Asheville as well, and yeah, and that has really perked my interest. Can you kind of talk about that trail, like your overall experience on it?
I again like had this very unique experience on it, but I was jazzed to do it because I spend a lot of time, like that is the trail that's closest to me. That's our like after work trail. Like we're
Yeah,
within 10 minutes of the Mountains to Sea trail. We're on it all the time. Um, yeah, we just really, really love it. And a couple of years before I hiked it, the trail organization, they came to me and they said, we're about to turn 40. Like the trail's about to turn 40. We're still working on putting it together. There's still road sections we went on trail. And we would just want to do all these things to support the trail when it turns 40. And we would love for someone to hike it who can also give talks along the way and lead hikes along the way. And they were
Nice.
like, and you would be perfect because you're on it and you love it and you're from North Carolina and you do all these things already. And that was when we had one child. And I think she was like 3, but I was like, went to my husband and I was like, this is amazing. Like, they want me to hike this trail in support of conservation and putting it together. And I think we could really like make a difference. And my husband sort of signed on at the time, and it was 2 years in advance. And we put a lot of planning into it. And we also had another child in that time frame. And we were like, it's cool. It was sort of planned. And we thought it's fine. Brew, my husband, has supported me on other trails. I'm going to do a 9 to 5. I'm day hiking every day. This is, set up very much like almost a work schedule. And I'll see my family in the evenings and mornings, and we can do it. We've done supported hikes. This is fine. It's just like 1,200 miles. And it was just the best of times and the worst of times. Like my heart, because I had been pregnant and I had been nursing. I had gone through a knee surgery, and then I had been pregnant and I had been nursing, and I
Wow.
had done these short little hikes, but I missed the trail so much. And so I was like, this is my Phoenix moment. Like, this is my like emergence, and I'm going to get to hike the trail. And every day on it, just like seeing, it was a great like mushroom season for some reason, but all the like fungus, all the
I
wildflowers, being
love
out
that
there,
about
seeing the
there.
animals, walking across my home state, which is like, I thought I knew North Carolina because I was from here, but walking across it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I never knew the eastern part of the state was like this. I'd never like experienced the Outer Banks this intimately, where no one else is out there and you're just walking on deserted coastline all day long. And it was amazing. And then the flip side of that was, this is like the worst 3 months of my husband's life. Like, he hated it. He hated it for many reasons and many good reasons. I mean, he was taking care of a 4-year-old and a 10-month-old. I was still nursing. And so like our son, the baby, would just like cry all day missing me. And it's funny because when Brew helped me do the AT record, I'd like hike all day, and at the end he'd bring me french fries and milkshakes and tell me like what a great job I was doing.
Yeah.
And on the Mountains to Sea Trail, he would walk in and find me and hand me our like 10-month-old son, who was just screaming his head off. And then he would turn around and just leave. And I would like sit down on the trail and just nurse, and every last ounce of my energy would leave my body.
Jesus.
So
That's
again,
intense.
like these are not like, I can share my experience, and I'm like, I really hope this doesn't relate to anyone watching your YouTube channel, because it was such a weird
You never
thing.
know. I mean, there might be people out there that are relating to it or could relate to it, might eventually relate to it.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, and somebody over in the
So
comments said that they wanted to remind you that you did it in 2017. So,
oh, yeah. See, let's see. But anyways, it was really we loved like the Friends of the Mountains to Sea Trail and their little group. They do so much for the trail. And what I also liked and would encourage other people to do, and I assume on your YouTube channel it becomes very like, AT, PCT, CDT specific, and a lot of people
yeah.
know the big trails, but as there's more hikers out there, it's so great to experience these lesser traveled trails.
Right.
And one thing I loved about the Mountains to Sea Trail is like, you feel like a pioneer. Like, it's not complete yet, and you're seeing it evolve and become something, and you're sort of helping it become something. Like, just talking to people in communities about the
Right.
trail and what it is and who hikes it and how far it is, and talking to other people who are just out for day hikes and have no concept that they're on a 1,200-mile footpath. Like, it's really awesome. You're a literal trailblazer. So I definitely encourage people to check out these paths that want support, need support, and are still very much like coming together.
That's really for me, that was a big turning point in 2018 because I'd planned on going to do the PCT in 2018. And then, the next logical step for a lot of people is like, oh, now I'm going to do the CDT. But
Right.
before I went to do the PCT, I did a small through hike of the Pinhoti Trail and
Yeah.
absolutely fell in love with it. That's the first time that I had done
Yeah.
a long distance hike on a little bitty trail that nobody was on. Like, nobody was on that
Right.
trail. And then there was no gut hook. There was no vlogs. There was no information. So I just went out there completely blind and fell in
Yeah.
love with it. And that's why whenever I got off the PCT, I kind of made the decision then, like, I don't want to do the CDT next. Like, I want to go start
Yeah.
doing smaller trails, which is why I did the Arizona Trail last year, which is why I was planning to go do the Great Divide Trail. Not that it's a small trail, but Great Divide Trail up in Canada, and then the Colorado Trail. It's just because the smaller trails, one, you can take 4 to 6 months to hike one trail, or you can take 4 to 6
Right.
months and hike like 5 trails and get more
Yeah.
diverse scenery and hiking and more adventure. You get more experience that way, I think, and you don't get burnt out, right? You don't get burnt out of being out on the trail for 4 months. So
And you didn't have like work and kids and still hike. So Mountains to Sea
exactly,
Trail, that was an exception. But usually my husband and I, we give each other 2 weeks a year of personal adventure time.
nice,
And yeah, so he usually does like music and he's section hiking the AT, so he'll do a little hiking and backpacking. But
nice.
yeah, I can usually each year I'll try to find like a 300-mile trail that I can do, and I'll typically do it in pieces too. So like Pinhoti, Benton MacKaye Trail. This year's supposed to be the Allegheny Trail. Like there's so many good shorter trails that are out there for people to experience, and you don't have to be a 2,000 miler to be
Yeah,
a through
I
hiker.
know a lot of people that have been talking about the Allegheny Trail. Like a lot of people that is on their
Hmm.
radar of being like a perfect
Yeah.
little trail to go hike. So that might be on my list too, coming up in the next handful of years. We'll see. But
Yeah, and I would also say to everyone who hoped to do the AT this year and plan to do the AT, we don't know when trails are going to open up and we don't know when things are going to change. But
exactly.
just because you may not have the season or time to do a 2,000-mile trail, or if restrictions are tighter someplace and, not so much in other areas, you could still probably have a just amazing experience on trail. It just might not be the trail that you thought it would be.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. Right now is a really good time if everything clears up by the fall. Like search out your local trails. You don't have to go do the AT or the PCT. Like it's great to do, and as we keep saying, the PCT is amazing. But there's so many
Yeah.
great
Love.
small trails in people's backyards. I mean, there's so many trails in this country that people just don't know about. People don't tap into. One of my favorite things is actually going to Wikipedia. Actually, if you just type in national scenic trails or long distance trails into Google, there's a Wikipedia page. It's just a massive list of like everything that I think that their criteria is like anything over 50 miles. So it's
Yeah.
like there's so many trails in so many places. That's how I found the Pinhoti Trail. I hadn't really heard of the Pinhoti Trail, and I found it on that list. I literally closed my eyes and like put my finger down, and that's what I found, and that's what I went to go hike, which was awesome. It's a great discovery.
Yeah. If,
So,
if my husband were here, he'd be like, don't look at that. Don't let her look at that. Please don't look at that.
ooh, you should do it. It's really good. There's so much good stuff out there.
Yeah. Good.
So, for everybody watching, like I said earlier, so when did the book come out? When did Becoming Odessa come out?
So my third hike was 2005,
Right.
and I was 21, and I kind of wrote the manuscript right away, but it took a long time to get published. So that was 2010 when it came out, and now it's been out 10 years. So we just see, I'm prepared again.
Look at there.
This is the 10-year anniversary edition. So it's got a new cover, a new first chapter, and then some tweaks towards the back. The story is still the same, just we tried to enhance some supporting materials of what's
Oh, I
happened
didn't know
since.
that. Is
Yeah,
same on the
yeah.
audiobook?
Well, no,
Uh,
but it's had an audiobook, so that's why you can get both and feel really good about it,
I was
right?
so
The audio
jacked to see that you did an
is like,
audiobook because I'm a big,
yeah,
obviously when you're out on trail, like I still love even when I'm on a trail to still listen to stuff about trail. So it's so
yeah,
jacked to see that you would put an audiobook out. I was actually
yeah,
planning on
that's,
downloading that when I was out on the AT to listen to it while I was hiking the AT again. And then obviously,
yeah.
but yeah, that's
Well,
awesome.
the audiobook's like the classic story, and then the 10-year anniversary edition has some extra bows and sparkles to it.
Nice.
But yeah, it's fun. It's awkward because this was a process of like, because I've written other books, like I've done other trails, and by the way, it's been 15 years, right? So I'm like, let me grow up. I don't want to be 21 forever. Like
Right.
I have changed, and still Becoming Odessa is the bestseller, and the publisher's like, we're just gonna put it out again. And I was like, I don't want to be 21 again. And so it's really this process of going back to the book and seeing what made it resonate with people. Because I, in a lot of ways, look back at my younger self and I was like, oh, I was so obnoxious. Like, I was so obnoxious. Um, but when I was reading for the audio, the thing that was very clear to me is I was so honest. And you can take it or leave it, but like, again, that was from my journals. I wasn't really writing for an audience. I wasn't very aware. I was just very much in the moment of sharing my experience and my emotions and my feelings at that time. And I think honesty more and more these days, like, we're kind of missing out on it, or we feel like we can't express it and we
Yeah,
don't want to offend anyone. And clearly, I don't want to offend anyone, but the honesty allows you to see the transformation
sure.
because I was a different person at the end. And if I hadn't been outspoken and opinionated and shared sort of those gut reactions along the way, then I don't think the change would have been as dramatic
Right.
in the book. So yeah, I think it might be a little obnoxious still, but it is an honest story, man. I'm proud of that. And I kind of want to reclaim a little of that. It was awesome.
So here in just a second, everybody, we are actually going to do a small giveaway here on for
Oh,
everyone here in the live cast for a copy, a apparently new fun copy with all kinds of new fun stuff
yes.
in it. Jen is going to be giving away a copy, and I'll go over the rules here in a second, which they're not really that many rules. But there were a couple kind of interesting questions I figured you might want to answer here real quick. Somebody asked, what made you want to build a hostel in Hot Springs? Like, why Hot Springs out of all the other trail towns?
Oh, I mean, Hot Springs is awesome. If you hike the AT northbound, which was my first experience, that's the first town you just walk down Main Street. Like you just walk down Main Street. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I had never seen sort of a small rural mountain town like Hot Springs. But it's funny because it's also very close to where I grew up. It's like an hour and 10 minutes from my childhood home in Hendersonville, and it's 45 minutes from where I live now in Asheville. So yeah, a lot of reasons, but I was and we had operated Blue Ridge Hiking Company because I wanted people to experience hot springs, and that's where we're permitted to guide, and we use the AT
Right.
there. So we had supported all the businesses in town there for like 10 years, but we're just kind of outgrowing some of the resources there and needed our own place. And one of my biggest hesitations in opening a bunkhouse, and we try to call it a bunkhouse as opposed to a hostel because I didn't want to take away business from Elmer's or Laughing Heart.
Mm,
And it's so important for me to try to like support businesses in these small trail towns.
right.
And so the last thing I wanted to do is, in any way detract from what they were already doing. But we try to bring our hiking groups and our backpacking groups to town, and our bunkhouse is used primarily for that and a lot for section hikers. And it's weird, things change in these small towns. There were shuttles, and at this point I think we're the only shuttler. But it was really good we were there this spring because we became sort of this thru hiker hostel overnight because Elmer's and Laughing Heart had to shut down right away with coronavirus to protect their caretakers who are at
Sure.
higher risk. And we had a young, healthy caretaker who said, you know what, for the next week, these hikers are coming off trail. They don't have anywhere to go. They don't have anywhere to stay. They don't have any rides to the airport. And I know we need to wind these down, but like, let's be a resource while we still can. So, yeah, I was really glad we were there to support Elmer's and Laughing Heart in that different way this spring. But it's such a special town. If you haven't
Oh,
been
yeah.
to Hot Springs, then like you're in for a treat when you get there.
It's like the true like AT hiker town, or it's like
Yeah.
you just feel like you're on the AT when you're in that town. I've visited a couple times being off of the trail since 15. Like every time I go back there, it just feels like every single spare inch of the entire town should be full of hikers. Like it is a hiker town. It's pretty great.
Yeah,
R-
for sure.
Right on. So, not a whole lot more questions, but a lot of people saying that they just downloaded the audiobook and just got the book. So,
Okay.
so for everybody watching, again, we're going to give away a copy of Becoming
Yes.
Odessa, the 10-year anniversary copy. So, in
Yes.
order to win, the only thing you really have to do, I didn't want to make a lot of rules, didn't want to overcomplicate it. whenever this cast is over, or if you can do it right now, if you leave a comment down below, not over here in the chat, leave a comment down below. Tomorrow, I will go through all of the comments and I will use a random name selector and I will pick a lucky winner and we will get that sent out to you. So do that if you want the book.
Awesome.
Jen, thanks so much for coming on here and chatting with us, and thanks for offering up one of your books for a giveaway.
Yep, thank you. It was fun. And now I'm gonna relieve my husband and get back to my kids.
Nice. Thanks a lot. Be safe, stay well, and hopefully I'll see you out on the trail soon.
Okay,
All right.
cool. Thanks, Darwin.
Bye.
See you later.
All right, everybody. So, big thanks again for Jen coming on the chat on the live stream. So that went pretty well. I got her up, got her out. Everything's still going. The stream's still good. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. And again, if you want to win a copy of Becoming Odessa, the 10-year anniversary, leave a comment down below. Don't leave a comment in the chat because that will go away. Make sure you leave a comment down below and we will draw a name tomorrow. And then I'll contact the lucky winner and we'll get that sent out to them. So I'm going to answer a few more questions. So if you guys have some questions for me, go ahead and fire them up over here or over here. I keep forgetting which way. Over here. No, over here. And I'll answer some questions and then just kind of let you guys know, like I said, this is going pretty good and I like doing this. So I think that we're going to start doing more of these here on the channel. And if you missed out on getting to see me talk with Jupiter and to see me talk with Second Chance and Tip Tap and everybody that I had on the Instagram live cast, they have all been interested in coming back now that it's on YouTube. So within the next handful of weeks, I'll be doing them again. And yeah, you can tune in for those as well. So somebody said, Darwin, no comment section below on live. Okay, so as soon as it's done being live, it will go back up for everyone to rewatch, then come back into it and leave your comment. And that's how we will do it. All right, let's see if I have any questions here. We'll answer a couple questions and then we will get on to our second guest. All right. I've answered that one a lot of times. So someone asked, how'd you get your trail name? I have answered how I got my trail name so many times. But if you want to find out that story, if you want to hear a little bit more, I recently did a podcast with a couple guys that actually have YouTube channels, Jeremiah Stringer Hikes and JK is Hiking. They have a podcast called the Backpacking Podcast, and I was recently a guest on that. And I'm pretty sure that I explained the story of my trail name in that podcast. So go check that out and you can hear that whole story. And the other thing is I was recently on an episode of the Shill Brothers Backcountry BSing. That recently went up. We basically did this, but it was them and they brought me in and we had a whole conversation. It's like a video podcast. Go check that out as well. I can't remember if I told the story or not, but I've told that story so many times. So I challenge you to go find where I told that story instead of me explaining it yet again here. Let's see. What else do we got? Are you going out this winter? Yeah, I'll probably go out this winter for sure. Ooh, I have a question for, and going out this winter, yes, if you're asking, am I going to get into some winter camping and some winter backpacking? I do plan on it because I have a buddy that is really into snow hiking and doing hot tents and doing snowshoeing and all that big winter hiking. So I do plan on doing some of that this coming winter. So you just wait. I'm going to get out and get cold. I got a question from another person who was really instrumental in inspiring me to get out on the trail, which is Loner on the EAT. So Loner asked, he just said, interview Masshole. So Masshole is a good buddy of mine. Loner knows him. I would love to interview Masshole. I'll eventually get Mass on here. There's an old video here on the YouTube channel from my old Q&As where I had Masshole and my buddy Geared Up in. Go find that. There's a little scavenger hunt for you. It's a really, really good little interview. We did a Q&A together. So, but you know, Loner is one of the first people that I knew of that was doing any type of trail vlogging. So he shot videos of his entire hike on the AT in 2012, I believe. Go check his videos out if you want to see like the grassroots, the forefathers of YouTube hiking videos. Go check out Loner's videos. It's good to see you, Loner man. Hopefully you are doing well. Somebody said, "What's my favorite color?" I'd probably say green. I'll go with green. A lot of my stuff is green. Probably like that color green. You can see that. Yeah, that color green. Some people call it olive drab. I guess that's my favorite color. I like earthy colors. I'm a very earthy color guy, which is why I usually wear like dark blues, grays, browns. Somebody said, "Is that still your original gray sweater?" Yes, it is my original gray sweater. I love this thing. I've basically been living in it since I got it last year. So, best way to protect. Somebody said best way to protect gear while flying, which is a good question. So what I typically do is I only do carry-on. So I think I've maybe answered this in the past, but a lot of people say, you know, what do you do with your trekking poles and your stakes and your stove and anything that can't go through security? What I usually do is I'll go to the post office and get a flat rate shipping box, and I'll put all that type of stuff in there. Trekking pole, if a lot of times I actually get a poster tube and I'll break my trekking pole down, I'll put it in the poster tube, put my other stuff in there, and then I'll send it to myself wherever I'm going to start the trail at. If I'm going to start in a certain town, if I'm going to go spend some time with a friend or family before I do the trail, I will send that stuff to them. And then I usually just fly with a carry-on. So I make sure that my pack and all of my essential stuff in there is protected and it's all going to be good. And then I just do it a carry-on. I put it in the little bin up top. I carry it through the airport so I don't worry about it being damaged or anything. I know other people, and whenever I went to Scotland, we used a duffel bag. So an old like Nike duffel bag, canvas. We put a bunch of gear in that, and then we checked that in. So just in case it got roughed up, none of our DCF material, none of our, our material that we don't want to get destroyed was really roughed up and dragged and stuff because it was in that old crappy duffel bag. So that's what I would suggest. John says, any hikes with snuggles? Right now, we don't really have anything planned. If you guys watched my videos last year, you'll see that we did a through hike of the Timberline Trail, another great small trail. It's like 40 miles, goes around the base of Mount Hood. Go check that video out if you haven't. I think I put that out last August. Amazing trail, and it was really fun to be able to hike that. Ooh, my face got out of focus there. All right. It was really fun to be able to hike that with her, and usually that's how we do our year. We'll spend about half of the year kind of doing our own thing. We'll all go out and do longer through hikes, and then usually in the late summer, fall is when we do a trip together. So 2 years ago, we did a bike tour of the Blue Ridge Parkway. Last year, we did a through hike of the Timberline Trail. And that's usually how we do our year. So we'll plan something pretty awesome this year. Just don't know what yet, but we will see. How do I keep my gear from smelling bad? I don't. Try not to sweat so much in it, I guess, is what I do. Yeah, gear just starts to smell bad. I'm not a big fan of washing a lot of gear. I mean, I'll spot clean it if it's got something on it. But I know a lot of people that put their packs and stuff through the washer. I'm always worried that I might damage something. I might mess up some stitching. So I personally don't do that. But yeah, gear just starts to stink after a while. I don't really keep up on that. I probably should, but I don't. Yeah, somebody just said, clean it. Yeah, I probably should. All right. Ooh, somebody said, are there any ultralight quilts slash sleeping bags you would recommend for couples? My partner and I love to weekend hike, so we don't mind sharing. Yeah, I actually have a Tasca. Enlightened Equipment makes a quilt called an Itasca that Snuggles and I have had for a couple of years now. We have never taken it out into the field to go backpacking with it. We use it as our main comforter. So it was our main cover in our van. It's like a queen size quilt. And then they make another one that basically you can snap and zip in the back. I think it's called the Accomplice. I could be wrong on that. I'd recommend checking those out. Catabatic also makes some really great quilts, and I believe Z-Packs is making a new couples quilt. I could be wrong on that, but there's so many good quilt companies. UGQ makes a couples quilt, I believe. Check their stuff out. Yeah, it's really, whatever is in your price range, whatever is going to work for you. They're all making great quilts. They're all making great sleeping bags. It really comes down to what works best for you, what's within your budget, and yeah, and what you dig. Somebody says, you ever want to get rid of your glasses and have your eyes corrected? I don't know. I haven't really wore glasses for that long. I had like almost perfect vision for most of my life. And then when I turned probably 25, 26, I woke up one day and my eyes just started going bad. And I've been wearing glasses ever since. At first, I just needed reading glasses, and then I started wearing glasses full time. So, I don't know. I don't mind glasses. I don't know. Maybe one day. Here, that's what I look like without glasses. So, I don't know. Maybe. Do I look weird without glasses? Should I put glasses on? Do I look better with glasses? I don't know. But no, haven't really thought about it. Maybe one of these days I might. All right. So, so many different questions. There's a bunch of messages that are being held for review, which I don't know why. Oh, that one's not bad. Someone says canyoneering. Yeah, I'd like to get into canyoneering for sure. I actually have some good friends that live here in Arizona that do a lot of canyoneering, and I've thought about doing some at some point. So we will see. Someone says, where can I get the hat? So we had these over on the outdoorevolution.com, which is what it is. It's an Outdoor Evolution hat. We sold out of them, and we have been trying to get more made for quite some time. We were having quite a bit of problems trying to get somebody to make some more. The company that did them before, they did some fishy stuff, so we decided not to go with them. Another company, it was going to take too long, and now because of the pandemic and stuff, obviously getting materials like getting blank hats, getting patches made is tough, right? So hopefully we will have some more of these very soon, hopefully within the next handful of months. So just keep checking over at theoutdoorevolution.com, and eventually we will get some more over there. All right, so let's see. I'm going to answer 2 more questions, and then we will bring in the next guest. Hopefully the next guest is watching, and I can bring him in. Someone says, do you shave on trail, or is your beard natural? No, I haven't shaved my beard since 2014, August 26th, 2014, or 24th. It was either the 24th or the 26th was the last time that I completely shaved my face, and then I usually just trim it up. So I'll trim my mustache, I trim up here a little bit, and I'll trim around here, but that's it. I am a bearded man, and I like it. Do you think I should wait? Somebody said, I was originally thinking about doing the trail next year. Do you think I should wait until 22? So are you saying 2022? Are you saying whenever you turn 22? I say if the trail's open and you can do it, go do it. Don't do it right now because we're all supposed to be staying off the trail. But when the trail's open back up, if you have the time, if you have the finances, if you've done your research, go out and do the trail because it is a life-changing experience. And then the last question I'm going to answer for right now is, do you ever miss your old lifestyle? No, not really. I had a house for 5 years. I used to own a recording studio. I owned a restaurant at one time. And we had 2 cars, a 2-car garage. I had all my toys. And it was nice. I mean, I liked having things and doing that at home American dream thing. But once I started long distance hiking and traveling more and experiencing different cultures and different places, I realized that I rather collect memories and experiences and people, relationships versus doing than having things, than having a house, than having, at one time I had like 12 guitars. I owned probably like 20 amps. Owned like 3 different racing bikes because I was into racing bikes and triathlon. And yeah, I got rid of all that stuff and I didn't really need it anymore. I kind of felt I enjoy the experiences more. I enjoy collecting memories versus collecting stuff. So no, I don't think that I really miss it. Every once in a while, I miss having a recording studio because I miss being able to get up, go in on a day when I'm not doing much, pick up a guitar, hit record, and start recording stuff. So I do miss that. I miss being able to just record music anytime that I wanted to. Somebody said Burdett Park represent. Yeah. um, my best friend's dad used to run Burdett Park, so I've spent a lot of time there. All right. Do you still play a guitar? Yes, I do. I actually have a guitar now. The first time I've owned a guitar in 5 years. Recently got it because I think that I'm going to start scoring my own videos. There's some video projects that I'm going to be doing later on in the year, and I'm thinking about recording some of my own music to put on those videos. So I recently actually picked up a guitar. Somebody said, do you own stuff that doesn't come with you on the trail? If so, where do you store them? Yeah, I do own stuff. Obviously, I own stuff now. I'm sitting in an office right now. I have a big computer that I edit bigger film projects on, like Through the Great Southwest that I made last year. And I own camera equipment and backpacking equipment. That's about the only stuff that I own. Just the stuff that I use on a regular. I'm into backpacking. I'm into making film. So that is, that's what I own. That's the stuff that I own now. And I'm going to answer 2 more questions just because I think that they're really interesting. Thoughts on Johnsy deleting all of his videos? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know John deleted all of his videos. Haven't talked to John in a while. Probably a few months. Right whenever we were getting done with the film, I talked to him a little bit. But I don't know. I wasn't aware that he deleted his videos. That's a shame. He's up to something. Somebody said Pro Tools or Logic. For everyone that's watching this doesn't understand what we're talking about recording software. Actually, I used to use Ableton. I was a big fan of Ableton. Used Pro Tools for years. I've dabbled with Logic a little bit, but Ableton, super customizable. It's just very open. You can do a lot with Ableton. It's a very open source kind of thing to use. It used to be anyways. So that's what I use. And then the last thing that somebody asked that I wanted to answer is, do I still have a van? Do I still live in a van? Do I still live in a van? Or do I still have the van? Yes, I do still have the van. It's parked right outside of that window over there that you guys can't see. Right now, this is just kind of temporary for us. Like I said, we got this apartment because I needed to edit that film that I put out last year. Editing a YouTube video out of a coffee shop, because whenever you live in a van, a lot of times you utilize coffee shops and public places for Wi-Fi. So a lot of times when I did my videos, I would go to a certain coffee shop. I would set up shop all day and, with my laptop, hard drive, and I would edit a video. And then at the end of the day, I'd pack it all up, we'd hit the van again. But editing something like a 40-minute film with close to 6 terabytes, no, it's more than that. A lot of terabytes of footage from filming for an entire year. I needed more space. I needed like an office. So we got a place to stay so I could edit the film. But yeah, eventually we will go back to living in the van full time, I think. So, all right. So if my next guest is watching, if you will go ahead and call in, I'll bring you in, good sir. Someone said, do I ever go to Fire Creek in Flagstaff? Yeah, I've gone to Fire Creek. I usually go to Late for the Train or the Kickstand. Those are my two favorite coffee places. Oh, somebody said, will Through the Great Southwest ever be on DVD? I don't think so. We might eventually put it on Amazon. The reason we put it on, the reason we actually put it on Vimeo is because of how percentages work. So if you put a film on Amazon, they take 50% of every download. If you put it on iTunes, I think it's 60%, and then Vimeo is only 10%. And since we made the film to be able to give back and raise money for the Arizona Trail Association, obviously we wanted to make sure we could get the most money for them possible to be able to donate it. So that is why we ended up doing it on Vimeo. So that's why it's on Vimeo right now, but we might eventually bring it back up. All right, let me get my next guest set up here. Let's see, bring him in. I can see him, you guys can't see him yet. Make sure that he gets up here all good and fine. So this is, again, talking about being inspired by somebody. This is a person that has actually inspired the hell out of me in the last couple of years because he's done some pretty amazing stuff and in a very small time frame, which always kind of blows me away. So, welcome, good sir. So hopefully you can all see.
Hey.
You can all see my next guest. This is Acuna. I'm saying that right?
Oh yeah, you're
Okay.
saying it perfect, bro.
That's what I
Thanks for
thought.
having.
Yeah, man. Welcome. So, how are you doing, bud?
I'm just maintaining, taking it day by day. Things are changing hour by hour, man. So I'm just maintaining, just living.
Nice. And you are where are you at right now?
I'm in Slidell, Louisiana, about 20 minutes outside of New Orleans.
Nice. And how is this whole kind of situation of affecting that, like
Uh, you
locally?
know, the New Orleans area has been pretty hard hit by, COVID-19 and things. So
Yeah.
it has definitely adjusted the way we live here in Louisiana. Like I've never seen Bourbon Street completely empty, and
Right.
that's been blowing my mind these days.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts, man. So for everybody that's just tuning in that might not know this young gentleman, this is Acuna. So Acuna is actually, I'm going to let you. Why don't you tell these folks what you have been able to accomplish in the last what, just three? Is it just 3 years? Am I right on that?
Actually been hiking consecutively the last 4 years.
Okay.
I hiked 1,600 miles of the PCT in 2016. The next year I went back to the beginning, hiked the whole thing. 2018, I through hiked the Appalachian Trail, and then in 2019, I hiked the Continental Divide Trail, achieving the triple crown of hiking.
That's killer. Such a short period of time to do it, which is insane. Um,
It's been a great ride. It's been a great ride.
Yeah. So what originally inspired you to get into hiking, long distance hiking, backpacking in specific? Did you have a past in hiking and backpacking, or
I No outdoor experience for me. The closest thing I ever had to it was my dad was military, so
Okay.
I was born in Germany. We spent plenty of years there. Our youth center took us out camping once or twice, or we would go out on weekends every now and then and do what's called ghost marching, where you walk a couple miles and you get like a small reward at the end. And that was our family outing. But what got me into long distance hiking really was a guidebook that I picked up in 2003 when I was stationed in Iraq in the Army. And it was all about the Pacific Crest Trail and through hikes. And, that was my everything while I was in Iraq. That was my way of taking myself kind of out of that environment in my head, even if it was just for a few
Right.
minutes. It was what got me through that situation. Years later, after, 13 years of dealing with PTSD, depression, uh, Wild, the film
Yeah.
adaptation of Cheryl Strayed's book, Wild. It was on my TV and it reminded me of this trail that I read about. It's like, I wonder if it's the same thing, So I went on Google, figured it out real quick that it was the same trail, that one that I learned about 13 years ago. And it's like, I'm in an extremely dark place in my life. Maybe it's going to take something this extreme to get me back. And, 2 weeks later, I was out on the trail.
Nice. And then it just kind of steamrolled from there. And
Oh yeah, and I fell in love with the trails, the communities around them, and nature, and now I just can't stop. This is my medicine.
it's wild, man. That's something I talk about a lot here on the channel is how insanely addicting like long distance hiking is. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, like, or what that means. Like people, I think a lot of times say like, well, are you addicted to the hiking? Are you addicted to the scenery? Like, what is it? And for me, it's always been the community. Like, I'm addicted to being around like-minded people and sharing experiences with other people. That's always been my thing. What would you say that you're like what drives you to get out on trail? What's your biggest thing?
I think a big part of it for me is the communities, the people that you meet along your journey. Is like I've seen some awesome things in places where I couldn't even tell you where it is. But that person that opened their heart to me and told me about their struggles in life or the things that they've gone downhill on, I can tell you everything about those
Right.
people. You meet so many interesting people from so many facets of life out in the hiking community, and that's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's I talk about it a lot, and I've tried to represent it a little bit in some of my newest videos. But before I went out to do the AT in 2015, I was kind of closed off from other people. Like I was not really that connected with people. I was just kind of like, oh, well, what a lot of people think is I'm going to go out and I'm going to do this trail and I'm going to be by myself and get lost in nature and lost in my thoughts. And you find out that that's not what it is at all. Like it's a very communal experience. And that's really what kind of turned me around and made me want to talk to people more, made me a better communicator and a creative person, and made me feel more inspired by
Mhm.
being around other people, which is pretty amazing.
Definitely, in my journey to try to, help myself with all the PTSD and depression, I thought too that that's what I needed. Time to myself, just completely isolated away from, all the distractions of normal life. But what I didn't realize is, the years that I kind of isolated myself to people and to the world, I was probably doing more harm for myself. So when I got on trail, I was completely surprised how much I craved those social experiences with
Right.
people. And, the people in the hiking community, I like to say that we're the weirdos of the world. We don't do things the way society
Right.
tells us to do. So, I mean, it's so easy just to get to know these people and tell them things that you don't tell your friend you knew for 20 years because, they're used to being the social outcast just like you are. So they're so welcoming and so accepting of
Right.
everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's how I feel. Like I talk to people about that all the time. Is I have friends that I've been friends with since I was like 5 years old. I have a best friend that I've known my entire life, and I feel more connected to like. There's a good example is I hiked about 1,300 miles with a guy named Rube from Virginia, 62-year-old man from Virginia in 2015, and like I have more of a connection with him just in 1,300 miles that I do like in 30 years with somebody that I grew up with, which is which is really
Definitely.
wild because I think that the trail is like it's the great equalizer, right? Like it strips us all down to this kind of this real self. It strips away all of the social stuff and money and your job and everything, and everybody's just kind of on this same level experiencing these same things together, which is kind of what I always like my journey to kind of share with people is how amazing that aspect of the community is, about how that's,
Mhm.
to me, that's what the most amazing thing about long distance hiking is. I don't think a lot of people realize that or get that until they get out on trail for the first time, and they come off trail as a completely different person, which is pretty wild.
Definitely, I agree. It's something that is hard to put into words to let somebody understand who hasn't been out to the say the through hiking community. It's something you have to jump in head first and
Right.
experience.
So one thing I just had Jennifer Farr Davis on, and one of the things that we were talking about, and something I always love to talk to people, especially hikers that, a trail that's not been on my radar, or maybe that's something I've heard about but don't know a lot about. And for a lot of people out there, a lot of people know about the major trails, right? Like the AT, the PCT, the CDT, and people are just now starting to find out about things like the Arizona Trail, the Colorado Trail, but there's some of these trails that aren't very well known at all. So Jen did back in 2017, she did the Mountains to Sea Trail, which is in North Carolina, which is not really on anyone's radar. But you were planning on doing a pretty off the radar hike this year, that a lot of people don't know about. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, this year I was planning on trying to through hike the entirety of the North Country Trail, and that's a trail that starts in North Dakota at Lake Sakawea and goes all the way to the Ozarks Mountains in New York, which goes for about 4,600 miles. And it connects parts of the Superior Hiking Trail, the Buckeye Trail, the Finger Lakes Trail. But I was really, really pumped up for this one because it's a part of the country that I've never really had the opportunity to visit. And I was looking forward to, seeing it and seeing the communities that surround it.
Cool. Yeah, it's wild, man. I don't know a lot of people that have done that trail. Like, I know people that have been out on the trail
Yeah.
and done sections of it, but not really a lot of people. Do you know what the statistics are as far as through hikers for that trail?
Andrea, the North Country Trail, she was actually telling me that they believe there's less than six that have through hiked the entire thing in the
Whoa,
season.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. And I know last night, for everybody that's watching, we chatted before starting all this so we could make sure that all of our all of our T's were crossed and our I's were dotted. And we were talking about another trail that, like, I think is kind of on both of our radars and something that we've both been kind of thinking about, which would be the American Discovery Trail. Another trail that a lot of people don't really know anything about, that spans all the way across the country. It's wild that, is what Jen and I were talking about, is the fact that people really want to focus on those three big trails. But what a lot of people don't realize is how many trails there are. Not just like there's tons of national scenic trails that have been designated as national scenic trails, but there's also a ton of trails that haven't even made the register yet, that are in your people's backyards, that are just everywhere. And it's amazing that, like, if you just do a little bit of
Yeah.
research, like, you don't have to take, obviously, like, those are two really big trails, but even off that, like, you don't
Hmm.
have to take 4 to 6 months to go hike a trail. Like, you can take 2 weeks, you can take a month, you can take a week and go do a through hike. You can go hike from one end to another, and be a long distance hiker, get that experience and get that community,
Definitely.
which is pretty cool. Are there any other trails that are kind of on your
Yeah.
radar that are smaller?
The Arizona Trail has been on my radar. I'd love to do the Catalina Trail in California. I think that's about 40
Yeah.
miles. I actually attempted the Lone Star Trail in
Really?
Texas, and after a day and a half, me and my hiking partner undecided. We both were having the stomach virus
Ooh.
issue, and we were doing that to train for the Continental Divide Trail. And it's like, if you haven't been sick on trail, it's not fun.
Hmm.
On a long through hike, you have to push through it because you don't have a choice. But this was training. We wanted to break in some new gear. We were able to do that. And it's like, if this isn't going to be fun, then it's not worth doing. So we got off that trail. So the shortest through hike that I attempted is the one I haven't completed.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people, like, I didn't even know about that trail for a long time, and then a lot of people started putting that on my radar over the last year. Like, people like, hey, you ever think about through hiking the Lone Star? And I'm like, I don't know what that is. But yeah, that's wild. I don't know anybody else that's actually went out there to attempt that trail. So that's pretty cool. How was it as far as like the time that you
Uh,
were on it?
it was the environment was pretty cool. I did enjoy it. Some parts of it does remind you of the AT. The time of year we were there, though, is a lot of mud, so I guess it was like the Vermont area of the AT. Wasn't a lot of traffic until you got to one of the big camp areas in Sam Houston State Park. But overall, I think if we would have waited another week or two, we could have avoided the mud, and that experience would have been, right where it needed to
Right.
be.
Nice. So some of the things that I wanted to ask you, some quick fire questions, because I think everyone's always interested in what every
Hmm.
through hiker does kind of in certain situations. And if anybody has a question for Akuna, if you want to throw it over here, I got to remember which way, over here in the chat box. Um, we can ask him and maybe get his opinion on some stuff. But number one, what is your go-to? What's your favorite food to eat on trail? What are you eating over anything else?
I don't even have to think about that. Gummy bears.
Yeah.
I won't leave a town without a couple packs of gummy bears in my pack. That is my comfort food. That is my happiness. So they have to be in my food
Is
bag.
there a certain type of gummy bear? Do you have a is there one that you prefer?
You know, I don't discriminate. As long as it's gummy, I'm good.
I got kind of addicted. I had a buddy that was a big gummy person on the PCT in 2018, and I didn't know it existed. You know what Star Mix is? The that's got like the oh
Yeah.
man, he got me into that because it's got like the little cola bottles. It's got the cherries. It's got snakes. It's got everything, like all the
Hmm.
best gummies in one bag. Anytime that I see that, like I totally grab it.
Definitely.
Um,
That is the trail mix of gummy bears. So yeah, I'm down with it.
nice. So let's see another. I guess a common question. Shelter wise, are you tent, hammock, tarp, and then freestanding or tension?
I'm sent. I rock the Z-Packs duplex. Really love it. I recently for this trip upgraded to the Flex system so it can be
Hmm,
freestanding, and I did that to combat the heavy winds in North Dakota and possible heavy snows. So most other trails I've just done it as a tension, but I did upgrade that system for the North Country Trail this year.
nice. And then what's your footwear of choice?
My footwear choice will be the Merrell MQM
Hmm,
Flexes. Totally love the shoe. It's been my go-to shoe for all terrains. Walking roads on the Continental Divide Trail, rocky areas, manicured trails. It's done great for me for all of that. And you know, I will have to admit, I dig the color schemes. The pair I
are those the
wear
little
is
funky ones with all
orange
the
and
crazy
blue, and
like the
that's a
tie dye look on them and stuff?
uh, those are the Novas. I'm actually
Oh,
wearing those
nice.
now. Those are my everyday wear. But for hiking, it's close to the Nova, but I like the ability to have my own unique style while
Oh
I'm
yeah,
on trail. It's my way of expressing.
yeah.
So I love colorful things. So since it's very functional and it's colorful, that's my go-to, the MQMs.
Nice. Let's see. What would be another great random fire question? Do you have do you cold soak or do you cook?
I cook once a day. There's something comforting about getting to your tent and at the end of the day having a warm meal.
Right.
So I am, just a dinner cooker.
Nice. Somebody asking is kind of the next question that I was going to ask you. They said Acuna they have a similar build to you. What packs work best for your frame? What pack are you currently rocking, or what's your favorite pack?
You actually touched on it earlier today. For me, it's the Hyperlight
Oh,
Mountain Gear Windrider is my favorite, and the Blaze. When I put them on, they fit me perfectly. The load lifters, bells, and whistles that come with other packs, I haven't really needed
yeah,
those. And I thought it was going to be a deal breaker with the Hyperlight when I switched to it, not having the load lifters. But for my frame, it fits perfectly. I do have to get the large, and other brands, I'm in between the two. So if I get the large, it's too big. If I get the medium, it's too
yeah,
small, so it doesn't ride right. But for my size, my build, the Hyperlight mountain gear pack is my
Yeah, I know a
go-to.
lot of people that love them. It's kind of what I answered earlier. It's like I tried one. I was actually kind of jacked about it. It was the first DCF pack that I'd ever considered, and I tried it, and it just like it did not sit
Yeah.
on me right. And that's the thing that like a lot of you watching, like you gotta you gotta get that like what works for me is not going to work for him. What works for him is not going to work for you, and it's so individual, and that's what's great about having so much different gear, so many different packs and shelters and shoes, and like we can all figure out what works best for us.
Definitely.
But the sad thing about that is it is definitely a trial and error process and you go through a lot of stuff.
On, on a through hike, on a through hike, that's usually how I remember hikers before I get to remember their names is by their gear. Everyone's gear setup is completely unique to that
Totally.
person. Just because this works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So I can see somebody on the trail, I'm walking up on them, see the pack, see what's hanging off the side or that colorful rain jacket, and it's like, okay, I know who that is. But that's how I remember people.
Nice. And then somebody asked, what hair care regimen they're asking both of us, what hair care regimen do you use for your hair and beards? I can answer the beard one really quick. Like I don't do anything. I just kind of let it go. Whenever I'm on a real wet trail, especially like the AT, like it gets nice and conditioned. You know what I'm talking about. Like it, when you're on a wet trail, it's amazing. Like my beard fluffs out real nice. I don't have to mess with it because of all the moisture. When I'm on a dry trail, it gets kind of itchy and stuff. But the
Mhm.
hair thing, like I just throw my hair in a hat. Like what do you do for those beautiful locks, sir?
You know, uh, they don't get as much attention as they should during hiking season. Obviously, it's a hard thing to do. Just twisting my new growth takes about 6 hours. So you don't want to sit there twisting your hair for 6 hours in town. So mainly what I try to do is I try to find, shampoo and conditioner products that don't have
Oh
alcohol in
yeah,
them. The alcohol dries out your dreads. It also loosens up your dreads so you don't get the tight spiral. And then I try to replace the essential oils in there at least, once every couple of weeks when I hit a town. And I'll find like things like lavender oil, coconut oil, just to get it nice and conditioned all over again. Because once my dreads get super dry, they will break off. So I have to do some treatment, but I'm basically doing the minimalist that I can while I'm out on trails.
gotcha.
And as far as the beard goes, this bad boy, I neglect it so much. It doesn't get the attention it deserves. It's washing my face and then probably much going from there. That's about as much grooming as I give my
Yeah, it's
beard on
funny, man. I
trail.
get that question all the time. It's almost like people are to a point, and I'm talking to all of you out there, almost obsessed with like, what do you do with your beard? Like, do you carry oils? Do you carry a comb? I'm like, never. I carried a little wooden comb back
Hmm.
in 2015 on the AT, made by a company called Big Red. I think it was like made out of, I think cedar or something, and I broke it like halfway through the trail, and I've never tried to use anything ever since then.
Also, for hair care, I actually have to carry a piece of gear that a lot of other people don't carry, and it's known as a dread sock, and it's made out of like satin,
Oh,
and I can put my dreads completely inside of it, and then it comes pulls over. Because things like beanies with all my hair, they don't fit past my ears, so it doubles as like my beanie, and it gives me the ability to pull my hair up into it and use it as a pillow.
ah,
So, hey, dual
genius.
purposes.
Yeah, I think that Black Lashin does the same thing. I hiked with him over in Scotland, and he's definitely a dread man as well. And I think he's got something very. I don't know if he uses it as a
Yeah.
pillow though. That's genius. I think he was actually carrying a pillow. I have to let him know about that.
This is my ultralight pillow as well. My scarf, my earmuffs, everything.
Nice, excellent. And then the last question we're gonna give to Akuna here is someone wanted to know. Um, well, number one, how tall are you?
Just about
6 foot.
6 foot.
So I'm 6'1". So someone was asking that they are 6'6". It was a super chat, so thank you guys for that. I said I have a nightmare of a time finding tents and backpacks that fit me. Any suggestions? Um, yeah, I know that Hyperlight does make some longer torso packs from what I've seen. So that might be something to look into because you have a pretty long torso, don't you?
Uh, yeah, definitely. Hyperlight does make some packs that would be probably more ideal for taller people, but more than anything, it's about getting your
It
proper
is.
measurements for your pack. You're gonna have to get them properly. You're probably gonna have to get somebody else to take those measurements, and that's gonna determine whether or not you're gonna find the pack the right
Exactly.
size. Because I can be 6 foot and another person can be 6 foot, and we're gonna use different size packs possibly because the torsos may not be the exact same size. So I think you want to take a look at hyperlight packs, but before you do that, you want to get someone else to get an accurate measurement of your
Yeah, the
torso.
best thing is, I'm 6'1", for everybody watching. I'm 6'1", but like packs, like large packs and stuff, are way too big on me. Even though it looks like I have a long torso, my actual torso length for a pack, which is your C7 vertebrae to your hip shelf, is actually quite short. So I can get away with using something like the 35-liter pack that I've been using that is very, very small. I think it's like 15 or 16 inches, and it fits me perfect. So we can give suggestions all day long, but at the end of the day, the best thing to do is like go to your local outfitter. If you don't have a local outfitter, maybe an REI or something, and just walk in and go into their pack department and get measured for a pack and find out what range that you need to be in, how many inches or centimeters that you need to be in, and then you can start looking at certain packs and look at those measurements of each pack and find something that's really going to fit your size and what you need. Because that's, at the end of the day, he can give suggestions, I can give suggestions, but everybody's so different. As far as tents go, there's a handful of longer tents for people. Light Heart Gear makes a tent called the So Long if you want something that is not DCF, something that's made out of cell nylon. And then a tent that I've been using this year, which is the Z-Pax Altaplex, which is a DCF tent, which is made for taller hikers. 6'6" might be pushing it a little bit. That's pretty long. You're definitely a tall person. But yeah, I know a
Definitely.
lot of tall hikers that use tarps.
I know the Black Latchin. I haven't met him in person, but he
He's
looks
super tall,
pretty
yeah.
tall. And I know he uses a Z-Pack duplex, so that might be someone to reach out to if you need another resource for a tall hiker and see what some of the things that's worked for him and some of the things that
Exactly.
haven't worked.
Yeah. He is definitely a tall guy. He's a lot of leg. He's like nothing but leg, man. It's crazy.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, you can tell from the pictures.
he's fun to hike with. Yeah, man, we definitely need to, at some point, we need to get out on trail and do some hiking together. I know you were talking about maybe possibly, if all of this clears up, possibly getting out onto the Arizona Trail in the fall, and maybe doing, still getting to hike it. If you come out here and I'm around, which I should be because this is where I live, we should definitely get out on trail together and do some hiking. I'd love to put down some miles with you, man.
I'm totally down. I don't know if I'm going to hike 30 miles a day because I'm gonna
I
want
don't
to
always have
enjoy
to
it.
hike 30 miles a
But
day.
25, yeah, down for that.
All right, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate you, and we'll talk again soon. Be safe, stay well, and again, hopefully you can get back to your plans. Hopefully I can get back to my plans. Hopefully we can all get back to our plans and get back out on trail. So thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate you.
No problem,
All right,
man.
buddy.
Thanks for having me, bro. Keep doing
All right,
what you
thanks,
do,
buddy.
homie.
Bye. All right, folks. So, big thanks to Acuna for jumping on. I've seen some people that are just now joining us. I'm going to go for a little bit longer. I'll end up answering some more questions. Um, yeah, big thanks to Acuna for coming on. That guy has really inspired the hell out of me for like the last couple of years. I've been kind of following him and his whole progress of achieving the Triple Crown, and it's just been really great to watch him develop on the trail and kind of see his personality come out in the media that he's making and stuff. So if you're not following him, definitely go check him out on Instagram. Make sure you're following him. He puts up some really good content, super inspirational, great guy, got a really good message. So again, if you're just joining us, we had Jennifer Farr Davis on earlier in the broadcast, and once this all ends, once we end the live cast, it should be cataloged here on YouTube, so you should be able to go and re-watch all of that if you want to see some of that. And then Jennifer Farr Davis actually gave away a copy of her book. It's the 10-year anniversary of the book that helped inspire me to get out on the AT. It's called Becoming Odessa. If you want to win a copy of that book, all you have to do is once this ends, it'll get uploaded, come back into the video and leave a comment down below. Don't leave it in the live chat because the live chat will go away. Leave it down below. I'll draw a name in the next day or two, and we will get you out a copy of a book. I also wanted to give away one more thing. So for everybody that's watching, there was one more thing that I wanted to give away. So definitely make sure that you comment, and we'll do the same thing. Just leave one comment for both things. You'll either win the book or you'll win this, and that is a fanny pack. So I recently, my media company, Outdoor Revolution, which is the production company that made the film that I worked on last year, we have been doing collaborations with certain gear companies and certain food companies actually to collaborate on a product, to put our logo on there instead of their logo, and do it so we can give money back to the trail associations. So these went up on Friday, and it was limited to only 50 of them, and they sold out. So these are not available anymore. We might be doing another one, but this is one of the prototypes of the fanny pack. So this is a collaboration that Outdoor Evolution did with Waymark Gear Company. Now, what makes this one special is it is green. So the ones that we had for sale and the ones that were limited edition were either gray or coyote brown. This is a green one. So just like the fanny pack that I carry, except for, if you can see, I'm gonna try to focus in on it. If you can see the print, it has this awesome print on it that was done by a friend of mine named Abigail Dawn. So as you can see, there's a bunch of different logos and trees, and there's cactus on there. There's a shelter for the AT, but it's basically to celebrate the public lands, our amazing public lands that we have here in the US. We basically wanted to start doing this stuff so we could give back to public lands. I really want to encourage small cottage companies and other people, everybody that's watching, to give back to public lands. If it's not, a donation, go out and put in some time at your local trail association. Go help with the ATC, help with the PCTA. Go out and swing an axe for a day. Do some trail work. Or just become a member. Most trail associations, it's like $20 a year to become a member. That helps them maintain the trail and continue to make it great for all of us to enjoy it. So I wanted to start doing these collaboration projects with certain companies. So again, this is one that we did with Waymark Gear. So this is the Waymark Zip Fanny Pack. This is the same fanny pack that I carry, except for it has an Outdoor Revolution logo and a custom printed fabric. So if you would like to win this, just like the book, as soon as this live cast is over, leave a comment down below, and in the next 2 days, I will give away this, and I'll give away a copy of Jennifer Farr Davis's Becoming Odessa, and I will post them over on the community tab. If you're not getting notifications for the community tab, go up to my subscribe thing on my channel and hit the notification bell, and then when I announce the winners of this and the book, I will post it on there, and I'll get a hold of the lucky winners. So make sure that you're going to leave a comment. Make sure that you can win one of those two things. So let's answer a handful of, somebody said, what is Akuna's Instagram name? It's Akuna Hikes, and that's Akuna. Somebody help me out in the comments. Akuna Hikes is his Instagram. Make sure you're going and following him. All right, let's answer a few questions here real quick. And then my voice is starting to get kind of scratchy. That's what happens when you talk for almost 2 hours. And then I'm going to end this. All right, let's see. I think somebody asked, do I use drones when I am hiking? No, I do not. And I actually own a drone. Let me grab it here real quick. So I own a drone. We used this for like a shot, 1 or 2 shots in the film that I made last year through the Great Southwest. By the way, if you guys haven't seen that, if you want info on there, I know I've talked a lot about that. To this point, we have, from everybody that has downloaded the film, from everyone that's come out to a showing, we have been able to raise over $13,000 for the Arizona Trail Association and our public lands. So thank you so much for everyone who has supported the film. Thanks to everyone that's come out to the showings. Thanks to everyone that has downloaded the film. It's been amazing. We recently put the film on sale, so we took it down $2. So anybody that hasn't seen the film, go check it out. You can find the film on the website, theoutdoorevolution.com. It's theoutdoorevolution.com. There's a little tab that says films. If you click that, it'll take you to a spot to download it. You can direct download it straight onto your computer, and you can watch it on any device, or you can stream it on Vimeo. And 50% of every single download goes to the Arizona Trail Association. And like I said, to this point with the showings where we did 100% of the proceeds to the association, with the downloads 50%, we've been able to raise over $13,000. So it's been pretty amazing. And for everyone that's been asking, a question that I wanted to answer, and I answered it over on the Show Brothers live podcast, is people are like, well, are you pocketing the other 50% of the film? No. Actually, so Vimeo takes 10%. It's about 5% to process. And the rest of it, I've actually put into an account. And at the end of this year, I'm going to go into another film project. So I'm going to be shooting a documentary about public lands, hence why I do so much for public lands. So there'll be more information coming on that in the future, but I did want to let you guys know that. I get that question here and there. To date, I have not made a single penny off of the film, not one penny off of the film. So actually, I've invested heavily in the film. So yeah, please go support the film. Please help out the association. Yeah. All right. So, but yeah, I guess in answer to the question, sorry, I went off on a tangent. I do have a drone. No, I do not use it on trail. I don't believe in that. I don't want to fly my drone because they are loud. If you ever heard a drone, they're super loud and annoying. And I don't want to disturb someone else's hike. I don't really, a lot of people ask me that. In my own personal opinion, I don't think you should carry a drone on a thru hike. There's way too many other people on the trail, and somebody could be sleeping. Somebody could, not want to film like I do, not want to listen to music like other people do. Some people are just out there for the peace and quiet. Some people want to enjoy the trail, and I would never, ever want to destroy that experience for someone else. And a lot of these national scenic trails, a lot of these trails go through national parks, wilderness areas, places where it is illegal to fly a drone. So no, I would never carry this on trail. It's just not worth it. That was a really long answer to that. All right, let's see. Somebody said, embrace the suck tees. Yeah, I might eventually bring those back again. We will see. Any close encounters with mountain lions? No, I don't think so. No. I have personally never seen a mountain lion out on the trail. There are a lot of other people that I know that I was hiking with the guy last year on the Arizona Trail that I met him right after he saw a mountain lion drag an elk off of the trail. So we have mountain lions out here in Arizona. We have elk out here in Arizona, and he literally saw an elk carcass laying on the ground and a mountain lion dragging it off the trail, which would have freaked me the hell out. But I have never seen a mountain lion. I got a super chat from Nightmare. Thank you so much, Nightmare. Really appreciate you. And Nightmare asked, favorite music and books to listen to on the trail. So I listen to a lot of different books on the trail. None in particular, except for one that I listen to almost every hike that I do, and that is a book called Desert Solitaire by Edward Abbey. It is one of my favorite books. I make sure that I get some of that every time that I go out onto a trail. It's very inspirational to me. I think it really speaks to me. So that is one of my personal favorite books. And then a lot of times I will literally catch up with other hikers' books, that hikers that I know that have wrote a book, like Jennifer Farr Davis, and turned it into an audio book. I like listening to that. I like listening to a lot of biographies. So a lot of biographies or autobiographies on certain people, actors, filmmakers, musicians. That's what I listen to a lot. And my favorite music to listen to on trail is so eclectic. I listen to just about everything. I'm a big audiophile. I used to own a recording studio, so I will literally jump from an old blues tune, like an old Albert King song, and next on I will put a song by Sigur, which is an Icelandic band that's a post-rock band that I really like. Next I'll put on some old, Kill 'Em All, Metallica, and then I'll put on, Miles Davis, a different kind of blue. I'm all over the place with music, so I don't know if I have a favorite music to listen to on trail, but I listen to just about everything. Again, thanks Nightmare for the super chat. I really appreciate you. Let's see. I saw something kind of goofy. Somebody asking some weird questions. Ooh, here's one I like. How much money donated would it take to get you to shave that beard? For some reason, people are really obsessed with me shaving my beard. I don't want to shave my beard. I like my beard. I'll tell you what, somebody commented on that on an Instagram live, and I made a deal with them. I will shave my beard off. I'll let you shave my beard off if I can cut your right hand off. No, there's no amount of money donated that would make me want to shave my beard. I like my beard. I don't really like my face without a beard. So I'm going to keep it for now. Maybe you should try growing one as well. Maybe you'll enjoy it. Maybe not. Maybe you can grow one, shave it off, and donate the proceeds of whatever money that you can raise to a trail association. So let's see. What else do I want to... Were you and Dan Becker separated at birth? Who? I'm just playing. Dan's a good friend. I don't think so. I don't think Dan and I look anything alike, honestly. I have a beard and tattoos. Dan doesn't. So, yeah, I don't know. Strange question. Dan's a good guy, though. You should definitely check his stuff out if you're not. So many questions. Someone said, how is Snuggles? Snuggles is great. She is actually in the other room. She's not a big fan of being on camera, which is why she's not in a lot of my videos. I've actually asked her if she would want to come on as a special guest, and not really interested. But yeah, she's doing fine. Just working and doing the same as what we're all doing. I'm doing the same as what we're all doing. Just kind of sitting here and chatting on the internet with good friends and trying to keep occupied and busy and somewhat in shape. And somebody had a question, I feel like, about a pack. Ooh, someone said, what guitar do you have? I have a 1993 Duosonic reissue, a Fender Duosonic. One of my favorite musicians of all time is David Byrne from the Talking Heads. And David Byrne used to play a 1965 Duosonic, a Fender Duosonic, which is like a little quarter scale guitar. It kind of looks like the Mustang, which is a guitar that a lot of people are familiar with. And that was the guitar that he played. And I always loved that guitar when I was a kid. And in '93, they did a reissue of that guitar because they stopped making it way back in the 60s. I think they made a version in the 70s. And they made a reissue in '93. I always wanted a white on white Duosonic. And about 5 months ago, I found somebody that was basically getting rid of it, like for basically nothing. And I picked it up off of them. So I was really lucky to kind of get a guitar that I've always wanted. Yeah, a '93 Fender Duosonic is the guitar that I have. Someone said deal. Let's see. Do I like Craig Adams videos? Yeah, I do like Craig Adams videos. So Craig was just on one of my live casts. So again, if you're just tuning in and you don't follow me over on Instagram, a reason to follow me over on Instagram, if you like Craig Adams, is last Friday, I did an Instagram live, and Craig came on as a guest, and we chatted about filmmaking and some of his stuff. Now that we've moved them over to YouTube, I'm probably going to bring back some of the guests that I had on the Instagram cast. So keep an eye out for that, because Craig is going to come back on here and chat with us about filmmaking. If you haven't seen Craig's stuff, definitely go check his stuff out. Take a look at these hands. Yep, take a look at these hands. Look at these. Look at these hands. I love how people get annoyed with how I move my hands. It's how I talk, you know? I'm just screwing with you guys. And someone said it is, all right, I'm getting a lot of the same questions at this point. Oh, here's an interesting question, and I think maybe we will end it on this. Maybe we'll end it on this. Someone asked, Darwin, I have a serious question. Do you think it's okay to thru hike the trail right now if the trail organization says it's okay, even if you pass through small towns? So, if you want my full-on answer, my opinion, my experience of being out on trail, getting off of trail, coming back here, living right next to a long-distance trail. So, the Arizona Trail is like less than a block away from my front door. I do not think it is okay to thru hike a trail right now, even if the Trail Association says that you can. For the fact that what a lot of new hikers don't understand, that have never done a thru hike, is you do pass through a lot of small towns. You have to. Unless you plan on going out and doing an entire trail and carrying how much ever food, 100 pounds of food on your back, you have to go into small towns to resupply. Whenever you get to a road, sometimes roads or a town is really far away. Even if you plan on resupplying at a post office, a town might be on the PCT, 30 miles off the trail. I went to, Bishop on the PCT. It was 30 miles from the trailhead. So you do have to come in contact with people. You have to hitch. And I think right now, with this whole thing going on, and people, could be a carrier, couldn't be a carrier, might not know. There's just too many people that are too unsure about what's going on. I personally think it's a bad idea to go thru hike right now, not just for the safety of others, but because of logistically, it becomes a nightmare. There's a lot of people that stuck it out on the AT, stayed out there, tried to do what they could to social distance themselves, and after a while, it just came to be too logistically hard to figure out how to resupply, how to get into towns. There's sometimes on trail where you get super wet and cold, on the verge of hypothermia, and you need to get into town, take a day off the trail to dry your stuff out. What if you get injured? What if you twist your ankle? What if you hurt your knee? What if you cut yourself? What if something happens and you have to get into a town? Because a lot of towns are shutting down because a lot of people are scared, right? Like if you go and stand out on a road and you're a nasty, dirty hiker and you're trying to hitch into town, it was already hard enough in the beginning. Now, with all this virus stuff going on, it's not going to be easy to get a hitch into town. So it just becomes logistically tough. And I just think it's the responsible thing to do right now to stay off of the long distance trails until this stuff, clears up. And it's good. It's good right now for the trails to get a little bit of a rest, get a little bit of a break from us trampling the trails all the time and going out there all the time. It's a good thing, and I think that we should give the trail a break. And let's all be safe and healthy, and let's all dream up and research our next hike and get ready and get our stuff dialed down so when it's time to go, we can all go and enjoy the trail together. Just think it's a really good idea. Yeah. All right. So, guys, I think that is going to be it. I think that's as many questions as I'm going to answer this time. Again, thank you so much for everybody that's joined. Thanks to Acuna for jumping on and chatting with us. Thank you for Jennifer Farr Davis for coming on and chatting with us. And, you know, thanks. Just thanks. If you want to win a copy of Jennifer Farr Davis's book, Becoming Odessa, and if you want to, or I should say or, because you can't win both, or you would like to win the Outdoor Evolution custom printed prototype fanny pack, same type that I wear, made by Waymark. You want to win one of those two things. Wait for this to be reloaded. Once it's on YouTube, you can go over here, or wait, go down there and leave a comment down below. Don't leave a comment over in the chat box because it's going to go away. And yeah, I will draw a name in the next 2 days, and there will be 2 lucky winners. Guys, thanks so much for joining me. I think that I'm probably going to do another one of these next Tuesday. I might either do one every Tuesday or every other Tuesday, and in between I'll make small little videos. So we'll have a video, then a live chat, then a video, then a live chat. And I got some pretty awesome guests lined up for the next one. So everybody, be safe. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Respect each other. Take care of each other. Be well. And hopefully we will all get back out on the trail very, very soon. See you later, guys.